Hey, welcome back, ball fans. Well, Bob, the first transfer portal window has officially closed for Tennessee, and it left a lot of fans wanting one coach fired, and several people wondering if Heupel was the guy to lead this program. And we're going to just give you our views on some things today. We're just fans, just like you are. We don't have got no connections down there other than the fact that we love the university and the teams. But we uh, try not to ruin your day or make you too happy, Dave, but we'll just give you what we think. So, Bob, I'll let you start with the latest.
Yeah, to reiterate what Tim said, we're no experts here. We're just fanatical fans that love the UT sports and just like talking about it. So, I want to thank y'all. Sometimes we get pretty opinionated on here, and that's just a little bit of who we are. But speaking of opinions, we're going to probably throw some out there today. But yeah, Mike Matthews, the latest addition is Mike Matthews. He went right in, toward the end of the night. Now, on threes, Austin Price, which is a very good source of information out there, said that the paperwork won't be filed and sent in until Monday. He is hopeful that they can, get this thing turned around and he comes back.
Yeah. So I think some of that hope is related to the fact that it appears part of the reason he went into the portal was he thought Nico was going into the portal also.
Yeah.
Nico didn't, but it's never it's not doesn't give you a warm fuzzy feeling to know that Nico was at least flirting with the idea.
Yes.
Um,
Well, and he may have. I'm hoping here. He may have put himself into the portal thinking, okay, I can come back. I can't go in.
Afterwards. Yeah.
So it was a late night decision. It's hopeful that he comes back. And honestly, Tim, as me and you discussed for this video, it's a need.
Well, let's look at the wide receiver room.
Yeah,
That's what you're getting about to say.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it, Tim.
It's crowded as this room is right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna suit up. If Matthews goes, I'm putting in. Okay, first let's look at the seniors. Okay, this is, and we'll talk about a little bit about the depth chart and stuff like that because look who's gone. Drew McCoy gone. Okay, Dante Thornton gone. Then you had Squirrel Whiteley. There's your three starting wide receivers from last year. Okay, your number 4 wide receiver, Chris Brazzell, which was also rumored to be possibly leaving, but didn't. He was thinking about it. Probably your next guy is Mike Matthews. Okay, so who is the wide receivers on the team right now? It is Braylon Staley and
Chris Bradley.
Chris Bradley. That's about it.
Yeah.
Because you had another part of the freak out is you had transfers.
Well,
Caleb Webb,
mm-hmm.
Chaz Nimrod,
Mm-hmm.
Nate Spillman, and
Yep.
then you had
Nathan Leacock.
Nathan Leacock, and then you had Squirrel White, as we mentioned, the fact he left.
Yeah.
Now, to me, it is a giant red flag when you have 5 transfer portal guys, wide receivers, go in the portal when you have 2 guys that were seniors leaving.
Yeah, so the starting jobs were going to be
Wide open.
wide open.
I mean, wide open.
Well, you had Brazzell, who was guaranteed one, and he thought about leaving. You had
Yeah.
Mike Matthews, that was pretty much guaranteed one, and did hit the portal.
Okay. You've got this fire we're talking about here. I'm going to throw a little bit of gas on it. Okay. In the last 2 years, since Kelsey Pope's been the wide receiver coach,
He's been 3 years old.
3 years. Okay, 3 years. What wide receiver has come in and did well, freshman or transfer, their first year? Dante Thornton, disappointing first year. Chris Brazzell, disappointing first year. Nathan Leacock, 5-star or borderline 5-star wide receiver,
Yeah.
never did nothing. Okay. Braylon Staley, I always heard about how great a wide receiver he is. Okay. How they love him, big time wide receiver, top 50 kind of guy.
Yeah, he was.
Did nothing first year. Mike Matthews, 5-star, did very little. So who's going to come in, whether it be a transfer
Yeah.
or a freshman?
Which I love our freshman receiving class,
I do love our freshmen,
but they're freshmen.
but who's going to come in and uh, we can expect to come in and have a big year next year? And that may be why Nico was sitting here thinking, man, I got a guy here. Who am I going to talk about?
Well, he was also, my understanding was he was very concerned with the offensive line also.
Yeah.
So the reason he went to him would say, what are your fixes? What are you going to do about the wide receiver room? What are you going to do about the offensive line? What are you going to do about the system that seems to be a little broken at the moment?
Well,
So,
my comment to Nico might be, you might need to do a Tom Brady and take a pay cut.
well, I
You
mean,
know, we can't be paying you the bank. And I mean, this is free agency, NFL free agency nowadays. If your quarterback's making a crap ton of money, then you need to know that, you know, you better be dealing with it because you got crap. If you want to take a pay cut, then we can pay for another offensive lineman or another big time wide receiver. You can't be asking for
well, here's the thing about it. In NFL, you have contracts where you can't up and leave.
Yeah.
In college, what happens is, sure, I'll take a huge pay cut. The fact is, you can keep the rest of my money because I'm out the door to
wherever
the Trojans or whoever.
Yeah. So I think they have to make this Matthews thing, get him back. They've got to because, I mean, it ain't just the fact that you're losing a talented wide receiver. It's just like, who's going to play wide receiver for you next year?
Well, I'll tell you what, the one name we haven't mentioned yet, Boo Carter, will be part of that rotation.
Yeah,
And
he will.
A much bigger part of it than I would have guessed 24 hours ago.
True. I mean, that's true. I was asked, just this morning, by our other brother, how many snaps I thought Boo Carter would get a game, and I'm thinking like 10, 15 on offense, but he may have to go. He may have to go nearly full time over that.
Well, I'll tell you what, I think him and Staley primarily play the same position. So you may see a more of a 50-50 split.
Right.
But, that still leaves you a big gaping hole on the other outside receiver. But yeah, Boo Carter's going to get his snaps now. He don't have to worry about that. Um,
The question is, Tim, we've had, everybody's watching this video. We have different opinions on stuff. I think me and Tim have slightly different opinions on some of our issues. And I don't know. It's just guesswork, man, because so many of us know very little when it comes to this kind of stuff. Is it the wide receiver coach? Is it offensive coordinator? Is it head coach issue with the system? Not calling for Heupel be fired, nothing like that. But is it the system? Has teams figured this out? Is it offensive line? But what is the problem? But right now, all the fingers are being pointed more so toward Kelsey Pope.
well, it is. I mean, including by some of his former um, wide receivers in his room.
Yeah.
On Instagram or wherever it was. Some of them are on there, Lee Cock and Caleb Webb.
Yeah.
Staley was on, but he got off there. And I don't think they totally trashed Pope or nothing, but if someone did ask Webb what he thought about Heupel, what he thought about Pope, and he goes, "Oh, I like Heupel."
Yeah.
And kind of left it at that. And then at another point, just bluntly said, uh, no one wanted to hear what he would have said if Pope had come to him trying to talk him into staying.
Right.
Well, now, how much of that is disgruntled? Someone fifth, sixth, seventh on the depth chart,
Right.
upset because his coach didn't see his talent.
Right.
And how much of it's real?
Right. Well, I mean, most time I kind of discount that. But you throw in the fact that Jason Swain has been very
Critical.
very critical of him this week. The former UT wide receiver. I mean, he played the position at the school. Been a little while, but he played the position. So anytime somebody like that says something, I take note. Former linebacker Kevin Simon has also been critical of a few things on our team this year, and I think he was also bringing up our wide receivers. Then you bring up the players, you get the guys leaving. Uh, there's become multiple fingers pointing toward Kelson Pope, and it's almost to the point that I feel like Heupel may be forced to do something here because honestly, if the guy can't get a wide receiver ready to play in 1 year, I mean, other people do. I mean, is it a super complicated system? I don't know. Is it much more complicated than other systems? Could be. Um, but, Heupel's the man in charge in this system here. I mean, but to me, there's a burning seat on the Kelsey Pope right now.
I would have probably been I had a sleepless night last night if I was Kelsey.
Yeah.
It's funny. 3 years ago, the players come to Heupel and said, "Hey, we want Pope." He was an assistant, an analyst here helping out, and they said, "Don't hire from outside. This is our guy." 3 years later, 2 years later, whatever it is, they're wanting him gone. It appears.
Right. And then you had
And
Georgia
yeah,
try to hire him away.
we tried to hire him away, and we gave him a huge contract extension and raise.
Yeah.
And everybody was happy with that. Of course, we just had a Blitnikoff winner. He was hot on the recruiting trail.
Yep.
Pope can recruit.
He can recruit. Yeah.
He can recruit. Uh, I've seldom seen someone who, at least in the fans' eyes, because we don't always know the whole story, go from a hero to a zero in a matter of hours, it appears, without some kind of scandal coming in.
True. Yeah, sure. Which, he's talking about his recruiting now. He's got three really good wide receivers coming next year,
Oh, yeah.
Uh,
Travis Smith, Darius Jackson, Joakim Dotson.
Yeah.
All three high quality guys.
Very good. I'd hate to lose any of those guys, especially Smith. But three very good wide receivers. Happy with that crew. But like I said before, can he get any of those guys ready to play next year? Because all three of them, as of right now, needs to play. Okay, something else was a little bit concerning. I don't want to try to be super negative here, but
Well, you go ahead and be a doom gloom, and I'll put a little sunshine pump on.
okay, all right.
You go ahead.
I haven't been super following the transfer portal. I just assumed, since we haven't really brought hardly anybody in, that there's plenty out there and that we have plenty of scholarships to give these guys, because we have a lot of players go, and a lot of them, I've had discussions with friends and stuff. Well, who do we take? I mean, we probably need two interior offensive linemen, probably a running back, probably two wide receivers, probably two defensive tackles, a linebacker and a safety, maybe a corner. And I'm thinking, okay, let's go get them. And I'm going to find out that we're pretty tight on scholarship numbers, number one.
Yeah, we're extremely tight.
And number two, vast majority of the best players in the transfer portal
We're gone. Yeah. I'm not going to take back what I said about me putting a little sunshine pumping on it, because I can't.
Yeah.
I know the Knoxville News Sentinel today pretty much come out and said we had one open scholarship spot, according to their numbers.
Yeah.
That's not good.
No,
But
honestly,
there will be more, though. I've got a feeling that NIL might help a couple of guys come off a scholarship.
they have to.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got some players on this team who,
Well, let's just be honest. There's a couple of offensive linemen in their second or third year here that are still on the team that
never going
they're
to.
never going to do anything.
Yeah, Messiah Reddick, Brian Grant, and that's just top two pops off of my head. And there's some other players like that.
There's always are on every team. Great kids, I'm sure.
Oh yeah,
Hard workers, probably athletically, just I'm sorry, I'm never going to be offensive tackle for a Pee Wee team, let alone a major college, so I can't throw stones.
Things have changed in college football, and fans, the coaches are having to adapt. The fans have to adapt and what their expectations are. Uh,
So you've
but
seen several coaches retire and several vote for the NFL.
it is, it's a difficult situation right now. Uh, you know, I never have liked the idea of the old thought of processing guys.
No, always been very adamant against it.
But in today's world, where these guys are getting paid, things are a little different. Um,
Well, unfortunately, a lot of guys you process aren't the ones getting paid.
right. And they probably are paying some,
There's some of them.
but not in block.
Yeah. Not everyone
But,
on the team's grabbing a check.
right. But I think you got to, because when you got so much turnover, you can't have guys who are just riding a scholarship. You know,
Yeah.
when you have 5 wide receivers leaving the portal, 2 graduate, you can't have guys who are just on scholarship.
Well, it's an emergency situation at the wide receiver spot. And, you know, let me pull my sunshine back out.
Okay.
Sunshine out
Please
for
do.
just a moment.
Please do.
And just say, overall, on the transfer portal out, it wasn't horrible. We lost 13, 14 guys,
Right.
something like that. A handful that I would have preferred to stay.
Yeah.
No one outside of Mike Matthews that I would say, crap, can't believe that happened.
Yeah.
And we may get him back. You know, individually, we're not, transfer portal didn't kill us.
Right.
It's just the numbers at one group.
Right. And honestly, I don't see any way that somebody don't make their way back. If Mike Matthews don't, somebody else does.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't think you worry about
Caleb Webb.
Caleb Webb.
Right. But I think you got to have somebody come back, man. Because, I mean, like we said before, who's your wide receivers next year? I mean, Chris Brazzell, Mike Matthews, which played almost none this year, very little.
Yep.
And then Boo Carter, which played no wide receiver for this year. And
Braylon Staley.
Braylon Staley, who played very little, very, very, very little all year long. So the wide receiver, we can definitely push the panic button
On that position.
in that position group. And we need some of these other positions. Like I really think numbers wise, it's a little bit concerning because to me, I think we need another safety. We need another defensive tackle. We need another interior offensive lineman probably.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way we can get by without going on offensive line.
And even if
Simply because
comes back, I think we need to go out and get at minimum one wide receiver.
yeah,
I just, maybe we'll try to figure out how we're going to work these numbers. But like you said, Tim, I think telling some guys they're off scholarships.
unfortunately, it's not an option; it's a requirement now.
Yeah.
Which
we
see
can't
it,
go
but-
to the 105, correct now, right?
No,
They can't.
no, they put that off. That's kind of what I think. The reason we went with a little heavy on our recruiting class was everyone thought they was going to 105, and then right before signing day, they said, "Hey, guess what? We're not going to 105 scholarships."
Yeah.
So this year,
This year. Right.
So I was a little surprised that we continued to go into to recruit some guys. To be honest,
Right.
Uh,
Well, I think, Apple makes a lot of money. It's his job to figure this stuff out. Now, on the bright side, I still think we'll have a good year next year.
oh, absolutely. We're going to be good in
If
2025.
we can figure this scholarship situation right and pull in some people from the portal, then very likely we could have a very good year next year and be solid throughout. Defense could be very good. And honestly, I don't see how the offense couldn't be better than it was this year in a lot of ways, especially the passing.
Well, I'll tell you what, I love the Wendell Moy pickup.
Yeah.
I think that could help that offensive line out
Absolutely.
tremendously. Uh, we need better pass protection. Um, run blocking, Ellerby coaches that up tremendously. Pass blocking, not so much.
Right.
But this guy is very accomplished before he gets here. So,
Yeah.
uh, but we got to protect Nico. We've got to protect Nico much better than we've protected him, Milton, or Hooker.
Now, one thing that we haven't mentioned so far, we brought up the fact that there was a lot of the portals gone. Now, these teams that's
Yeah, the good news here is sunshine pumping.
right. The good news is a lot of these teams that's losing, that's in the playoffs here, uh, they have what is it correct? 5 days after the game, after they lose, get knocked out,
To enter the
guys
portal.
enter the portal. So you're going to have some guys go. Now, I will say this though, those guys
Will
are
be
gonna,
expensive.
those guys are going to have an expensive price tag. I do believe because you're going to have a lot of teams that's like, okay, we got a deficiency, and there's one guy out there to fill that spot. You know?
Yeah, yeah. Supply and demand at that point will be very in the player's favor. Um, the good news is, though, not just that there's still more players going into the portal from these teams, but in all likelihood, some of your best players are going to be off these teams.
Yeah.
Those are the best teams in the country.
Right.
Um, one thing that we've always said we hated about this new thing is the amount of tampering that goes on. I'm not going to claim that we're innocent in tampering,
Right.
but I promise you, we're not among the worst offenders.
Yeah.
Anybody that follows college football can probably give you the 5 teams or so that are the worst offenders.
Yeah.
And if anyone that follows college football sees how slow we are in going after people, quite often we reach out to them, and first day we find out, well, there's no reason to go down that route because they're already
They're locked in.
he's locked in somewhere else.
It does appear we are not. It appears.
Our tampering is limited anyway.
Yeah, our tampering is very limited. Where a lot of schools are. We need to get on that tampering.
Yeah, we might be a little bit behind the
Yeah, if
times
you
need to
gotta,
catch up.
you got to do what you got to do. I mean, you got. I remember Bama. You know, a little bit off what we're saying here, but Bama used to do the whole off-field coaches that wasn't supposed to be coaching, even though they'd be out there coaching.
Yeah, I
You
remember
gotta
one
break
time
some
some of the
rules.
players, a player talked about how he credited his big season to this
This one coach that wasn't supposed to be
Yeah,
coaching.
yeah.
You know,
So that
wasn't allowed to be an on-field coach.
Yeah. So instead of slapping Bama, they just waited a few years till everybody was doing it, and then next year it's going to be fully allowed.
Right.
Um, so don't really know where you're going down on that route, Bob, other than just Bama bashing.
Well, I mean, any chance I can get, you know. I
Yeah.
mean, there's got to be a silver lining somewhere, and Bama bashing and Saban bashing is
When I'm feeling bad,
favorite.
yeah, man.
Yeah,
Makes
I
me
mean,
feel
I'm
bad.
just saying that we need to violate some rules here.
Okay, yes.
That's what I was saying.
Because I feel violated myself, so why not?
Right. So yeah, that's what I was saying. I think
Okay.
you know there's some rules here that's been violated, and everybody knows it's been violated. We can't sit back and not do it because you know
If you're going to do anything, be the best at it.
yeah, be ahead of the curve.
Be ahead of the curve. Don't be behind it.
Yeah. But yeah, anything else, Tim? You got what's your thoughts on that? On the
Transfer portal.
Yeah.
The first closing. I think, like I said, don't freak out. We did survive it, I guess. I've heard, I think Brent Hubbs from VolQuest say, um, but the one position group did not survive the transfer portal. And the offense as a whole, which we've talked about, it's got to get fixed. And when your when your quarterback goes to the head coach and the collective to say, give me the plan to fix it, because if you don't have a plan, you're going to have to get a bigger plan because I'm not going to be here.
right,
But you know what? He's still here, so
still here.
they gave him a plan.
I mean, we are on a life raft, and we know there's some boats out there running around.
Yeah.
We just need to find some to pull us in because, you know, like I said, you guys don't freak out. That's what we do best, is freak out. So I hope we don't make you freak out too bad. But we're just trying to,
Give you the latest update. One day
give
after the
update and give our thoughts on some stuff here because it's scary times right now. It's not a good time for college football. Hopefully, the NCAA actually wakes up and not.
NCAA's perilous.
I mean, it is.
Okay, here's
Something's got to change though because
our power conferences.
they're running college football.
No, here's what's going to happen the next 2 to 3 years, in my opinion, as far as this goes. Your power conferences, SEC, Big Ten primarily, want to go ahead and push forward quicker on the super conferences ideal. They may officially or if unofficially almost broken away from them already. They're going to institute something. Next year they're going to do the $20 million to athletes.
Right.
That's the first step into making them employees. At which point they'll try to push collective bargaining.
Right.
Once they get collective bargaining, you can rein in on this unlimited transfers.
Yeah.
The NIL will still be there. You can't touch that.
Right.
But under collective bargaining, you will be able to put a clamp down. And by the way, the 105 scholarship thing, I believe that's also part of their plan to get the players to vote in
Guys who
a
can
union.
make it a lot of money.
Right. You get 20 more people on every roster willing to vote for a union because those are all yes votes.
Right.
Because they're the guys at the bottom of the barrel getting 25,000.
Right.
Right. So, but that's 2 or 3 years away.
Yeah. Well, guys, with that said, remember to like, subscribe. We're getting close to 1,000 here. We're not too far away. So try to push us over at top so we can start paying for some of this equipment. And we sure do appreciate you. And remember, comment, let us know what your thoughts is. Give us a little venting, okay? Vent to us a little bit.
Hey, go Big Orange, though, and we're still going to make the playoffs next year, Bob.
That's right. Go Vols. Basketball's #1. Baseball's defending national champion. And we just made the playoffs. So, no, let's not be jumping off Henley Street Bridge or anything like that. I mean, I'll wrap this around my neck a little bit here. But make it a short cord. But anyway, go Vols.